Welcome back to Vikes with a mic. As always, your host JC here with my co-host and good friend Tyler Williams. Tyler, we're 5-5, and not only are we
Right,
5-5,
right.
we're on a 2-game win streak. And not only are we on a 2-game win streak,
Who did we just beat?
well, we beat Green Bay to get to 5-5 and to start off hopefully a win streak that the Vikings can continue. But
Right.
man, oh man, does it feel good to get a W. I mean, obviously, it always feels good to get a W, but it just feels so much sweeter when you
It,
beat
it, it really does.
the
Yeah.
team across the river. So that was amazing. As Adam Thielen put it so well after the game, there's just something extra about the build-up
Always.
the week. And
Yeah.
all the little jabs that you get, and all the people wearing their Green Bay crap around, whether you're a campus or school or work or whatever it is, because all of those Wisconsinites, they like to come over to Minnesota and work here because there's nothing else over there.
There's nothing there.
Yeah. So for us to be able to kind of stick it to them, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty great. I went to classes on Monday, and it was like the first time that I could honestly remember in however many months that I did not see a single piece of Packer clothing, and it's pretty great.
Great feeling. That has to be a great feeling. Yeah, I mean, on school on Monday, there was no Packer game. Again, it felt amazing. I had my Viking stuff on,
Right. Decked in purple and gold, head to toe. You just can't really explain the feeling unless you're one of us and you have the same exact deal going on. So with that, let's get into this game. Should we break it down a little bit?
Obviously, I think so.
Thanksgiving week, sadly yet another week that we're coming to you guys a little bit late here, but plans change, schedules change. Luckily we're only a day late. But yeah, let's get right into this game, man. I mean, this game could have gone either way. It really could have. In so many different moments, it had us absolutely elated and then absolutely dejected. The Vikes came out and they established themselves quick. Obviously, Green Bay got the first points with the field goal. But then we drive down, we match them. Green Bay misses one, we score, miss the PAT, and then we kind of keep going from there for a little bit. But then, yet again, the 2-minute drill just completely destroys us at the end of the half.
Again, it's just the same the last 2 minutes of the first half, we just blow it. Even in the fourth, too. The last 2 minutes of every second and fourth quarter, it's terrible.
Yeah, absolutely terrible. And then I think I remember us getting the ball out of the half, and I don't think we went 3-and-out, but I don't believe we scored any points on that.
No,
either.
We did not.
Our points in the third came later on, and obviously Green Bay scored their touchdown as well in the third and made it interesting. And then fourth quarter ends up happening, and it looks like, oh my God, the Green Bay Packers are going to come back. They're going to win this thing. That PAT is going to really come into play because you're down 24-23 at one point. Then we drive all the way down the field, score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
And then one play, they go down and score.
Right, one play, they tie it up, and you're like, oh my God, it's the freaking Rodgers magic. Here we go again. And then, obviously, drive down the field. Some incredible plays. Dalvin Cook even stops himself from getting in the end zone for what he felt like was too early. He had the ball down a couple times, and in some twisted, cruel, ironic way, while the entire stadium, whether it's out loud or in our hearts, are chanting, no, why are you allowing us to come down to a kick? Greg Joseph trots out there and seals the deal with technically a chip shot field goal, but let's be honest, there's never really such thing when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings. So, that's the gist of how the game went. But let's really dig in here because there's different facets of this game. And just like the last game that we played against Green Bay, where we went in there with a defense comprised of basically guys off the street and
The practice squad, the whole practice squad was basically out there for that game.
Yeah, exactly, and still beat them. You have a bunch of Packer fans out here coming up with excuses. So let's dive into it. Let's try and step aside from our Vikings fandom for just a second with each of these different facets of the game and really take a look at why it is that the Minnesota Vikings came out on top. So I think it's best to start out on offense here because I hear a lot of praise for this offense, and I think it's very rightfully so. They stayed aggressive, finally. It's very clear that Zim and Clint have sat down with Kirk and told him these past 2 weeks especially, okay, we trust you. Like, move the ball downfield. Get the ball to our playmakers on the outside. Let JJ take control of big parts of this game. Let Thielen find little pockets to get open and make a second move.
Right.
And then obviously you got Dalvin Cook, who kind of finally started to really look like himself in the run game. He was making good cuts, and when he was running up the middle, he was having vision and he was hitting his holes really quickly. He wasn't allowing himself to get stuck at the line of scrimmage nearly as much as he normally had been these past few weeks. I still think obviously there's some room for improvement, but I don't know. He just looked like he had a lot more pep in his step.
I think that really has to do with more so Green Bay having flashbacks of that 4-touchdown game from last season.
Yes.
When we put our practice squad defense out, and they're like coming into this game on the game plan, they're like, oh my God, Dalvin Cook absolutely torched us up. Let's play man on the outside, which is stupid because of our two wide receivers, and load the box completely to contain Dalvin. Well, I mean, that game plan clearly didn't work for Green Bay.
Yeah, Kevin King and Eric Stokes. That's an interesting decision to put both those guys basically on man coverage through 90% of the game.
Yeah, that's bold. That's very bold against Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. That's, yeah.
And KJ made him pay a little bit every once in a while, too. Obviously, there was the one big drop, but, yeah, he was out there running some good routes. So, overall, Kirk had a ton of different options to throw to. There wasn't nearly as many checkdowns that I noticed from him as I think there would have been had this been a game in the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. I was really, really happy with a lot of the decisions that Cousins was making. There were still some times where I was like, let go of the ball a little sooner, or, like specifically the fumble towards the end.
Oh, that was ugly. That was ugly.
That was really bad to push us basically out of field goal range. So there's always going to be things that you can clean up. But Kirk, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns. I saw a stat that he alone had like the same amount of yards and touchdowns as Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Joe Burrow combined against the Packers, which is insane to me. Absolutely insane. But also he had a great day, and his offensive line, I don't feel like people aren't really talking about this very much. His offensive line wasn't by no means amazing. I mean, definitely playing better than they have in years past, but this game I noticed quite a bit of pressure on Cousins, whether it was coming around the edge or straight up the middle. Thought it was very interesting that Mason Cole got the start over Garrett Bradbury. I just heard today from Clint Kubiak that both of those guys are likely to be out on the offensive line this next week against San Francisco. So could probably see Oli Udoh losing his starting job. Wouldn't be surprised if Mason Cole maybe switched over to a
right guard
position.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's pretty insane just how well Kirk Cousins is playing.
I think it was really impressive due to the Mason Cole Kenny Clark matchup, because specifically on the first play, the first play of the game was ugly.
It was bad.
That was bad. I mean, he didn't somehow get a sack, but that looked just terrible. I mean, he pulled a play out of Garrett Bradbury's book, man. Just like, what was that? Like right off the game, he didn't look ready for the play. Even didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah.
But it also happened a couple other times too. I mean, I've been on the Mason Cole train, but that just can't happen. I mean, Kenny Clark is a really good football player. I mean, there's no,
Right.
but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
this offensive line, while they're playing better compared to years past, I still look at them and see a far below average offensive line
right.
in this league. So imagine what Kirk could do even just with an average line if these guys stepped it up just a little bit more. Darrisaw and O'Neal though look fantastic.
I thought O'Neal looked phenomenal. I mean, he does it every week, but this week I thought it was like he stood out to me.
No, O'Neal, I think, had his best game of the year this week by far.
Right.
There's been some iffy games for him, and Darrisaw too. Absolutely amazing overall for the both of them. So very promising to see that for sure. But I mean, how can you not just touch on Justin Jefferson alone here? The dude is an absolute monster. Just okay, 8 receptions, 169 yards, nice, and an average of 21.1 yards.
I like
2
that.
touchdowns. What a guy! What a guy! I mean, the dude was making plays and he was extending, like he was always very aware of the situation, trying to get to the sticks, not really allowing for himself to put the team at risk as far as getting behind the chains.
I mean, he had the Randy Moss shirt on pregame. I mean, that literally sums up the numbers. Yeah. That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts up this type of game wearing the Randy Moss shirt. That just tells me everything about JJ and that how good of a player this guy is, and he's going to be going forward. It's just phenomenal.
No, that's a fantastic point. Yeah, he straight cash homie. Like he is just he's something else. And Adam had a great game too. Another 8 receptions, 82 yards, 10.2 average with a touchdown. Both of those guys looked fantastic, and Kirk was delivering them some really, really great balls. I see a lot of people out there commenting on 2 plays in particular. And
I know you're going there with this.
Yeah, we'll touch on them now since we're talking about the Vikings offense. The first one being the Adam Thielen catch and run on the last drive of the game before the field goal, where I've seen Packer fans on Twitter saying that he stepped out of bounds. Y'all have obviously not looked at the
That's Packer fan IQ right there for you.
Provided. I implore you to look it up. I'm by no means going to sit here and tell you that you're an idiot, but also just do a simple Google search, and I think you'll find that there is no validity to that claim whatsoever. Whereas Aaron Jones, I believe last year, did step out of bounds, but you'll probably never admit that. Anyways, the other play that I do want to bring up is the incomplete pass that Packer fans are calling an interception. Again, all I have to say is number one, if you think that that's a real interception, then I don't ever want to hear another Packer fan say that Dez didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Because Dez took 3 steps, made a football move to like tuck the ball in a way, and then made contact after, I believe, the elbow hit before the ball even hit the ground. So in my eyes, already that's a catch, but let's call it not a catch. Okay. If you think as a Packer fan that that's not a catch, then there is 0% chance that Savage had that ball at any point and could consider that a catch. He never makes a football move. The most he does is pull the ball in towards his chest. And as soon as he starts to turn his body and fall towards the ground, and that ball makes contact with the ground, it is completely jarred loose. And in the rules, it states the ball must survive contact with the ground. So, not a catch. And the other thing is, like, it wasn't a long process. The refs pretty quickly
It was a quick review and everything. I mean, what I saw.
Quickly reviewed it and overturned it. And even Dean Blandino, who is normally kind of coy about sharing his opinion. Now, to be fair, I rewatched the game because I was working it. But when I rewatched the televised broadcast, Dean Blandino was like straight up. He's like, "Yeah, no, this isn't a catch. This isn't. He doesn't make a football move. He doesn't survive contact with the ground. So therefore, this should easily be overturned. That's not a catch."
Every non-Packer fan that actually has non-biased like Viking perspective of it, I mean, it wasn't a catch. What I saw. I mean, that's not even like being biased about it. Like
I haven't even seen some Packer fans like saying like, "No, y'all are idiots." Like those of you who are going out here saying that this is an actual interception. So, yeah, thank you to those people who I guess take the bias out of our hands. But also, I think I just know how to read the rule book better than some of you guys do. Those are really my main thoughts, though, on the offense. I mean, I just want to see them continue to game plan like this. I think that there were times where they kind of sputtered out yet again, or they allowed penalties to get in the way of a couple drives. I'm specifically thinking more towards the middle of the game, so late in the second quarter and kind of early in the third. Whereas you kind of want to see that's when clicking should be going on, and you should never really allow another team to get back into this game. And yes, that's somewhat on the defense's fault, but also offense. If you would have kept scoring points on your drives, then it really wouldn't have mattered nearly as much. But in the end, when it came down to the crunch time, when you needed the points, they got in the end zone. They got in the end zone again for a 2-pointer, and then drove all the way down the field to get that game-winning field goal. So can't have too much to complain about when they put up 34 against the Packers.
Yeah, there's not much to complain about. The only thing I would say is they still need to run the ball to the outside with Dalvin Cook. That's still a problem.
Yeah.
That has to, like, I don't know what's the process with that. Dalvin Cook is not a power back, Clint. I don't know what you're trying to like accomplish with that. Get him outside in space. Like, that just makes absolutely no sense to me.
I don't disagree with you, but I will go back to what I was saying earlier. I really do believe that based on watching it, in real time and then going back and also watching it once more, he looked much better. Dalvin, that is, looked much better with his vision on plays in this game, even though maybe the yardage doesn't show that. I think he looked much more like his old self. So in that regards, kind of like keep on the right track. But yes, it'd definitely be nice to see them bounce him outside a little bit more often. But yeah, any other thoughts on the offensive side of the ball, Ty?
Not really. Just one other bad play call when we decided to throw a sweep to CJ Ham on 3rd and 1 to basically the momentum just went like that after that play. Yeah. We could have probably wrapped up the game after that play call. I don't know what that was on a 3rd and 1 like that. Honestly, just let Kirk QB sneak it, in my opinion. I don't know what we're trying to do with CJ Ham there. I'd say
that's like out kind of strategizing yourself, basically.
It's just trying to do too much. I think CJ Ham's better at actually catching the ball than like him running it off a handoff, if you get what I'm saying. That just doesn't make sense to me at all.
At least an outside handoff for sure. Like if you're gonna get CJ Ham going, get him going north and south. I don't want to see him going east and west. So I definitely agree with that. I'm glad you brought that up because after a win, some of those ugly plays, they kind of slip your mind.
That one was just so gross. I had to bring it up. And if we convert that play, honestly, we probably put up more than 34 and probably seal the game. That's just my opinion. It wouldn't have been this close.
You might be onto something there. I wouldn't really argue with you.
But hey, a win's a win. We'll take it. So
a win is absolutely
just being picky at that point. But yeah.
So let's get into. No, you know what? Before we get into the defensive side of the ball, let's quickly touch on the special teams because with Greg Joseph, obviously super happy about the 2 field goals, but that PAT, man, I really cannot stand that. It really makes me angry when you miss those things. And I get it. They're farther out now, but it's been so long since we changed that rule. And the numbers have kind of already started to bounce back to the point where those things are becoming somewhat automatic again. Like, I'm just those points, especially for a team like the Vikings, like the way that we played this year, they mean so much. Like, thank God that Cook could outrun half of the Packers defense on that 2-point conversion play to the outside. But lordy, that was rough. However, it's a new week. He made one from 51. So like that's
right. That was a big kick. That was a big kick.
That's why I'm probably like kind of frustrated over it. Like, dude, how do you keep hitting these just over 50-yard field goals, but you can't hit the freaking PATs? Like, come on, man. So yeah, and then obviously in the end he comes up in the clutch for us. He gets the dub. So
right. At least he didn't doink it, in my opinion.
It was a great walk-off. Oh yeah, right. Unlike the other team.
Yeah.
Yikes. Mason Crosby is not looking nearly as automatic as he has in the past. Actually, I think the Packers kick team has like the worst percentage overall.
Yeah, they've missed the most kicks this year, I think.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they have a new long snapper and a new holder. So that can mess with.
I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jordan Berry, obviously, I think he only had a punt. What was it? 3 times?
Three times.
So with an average of just over 41 yards, not too shabby. And then I know that he got that pretty solid one within the 20. Sadly,
he did. Yep.
The Packers still scored on that one, but
yeah.
I mean, anytime you only see 3 punts out of your punter, it's solid.
It's a pretty good day.
A solid day. Definitely should be the aim. You should not be seeing your punter probably more than 3 times, honestly, if you can control it. And then on the other side of the ball, obviously with Packers, thanks Mason Crosby. I really appreciate you missing that field goal. Their punt coverage was pretty dang good from what I remember. I don't think we ever really got a great return.
No, we didn't.
Or a kick return, to be completely honest with you. And then, because Dede only had 8 yards, I think, return yards, and then Hene only had 15. So pretty good day overall for the Packers in their kick coverage team, but also similar for us. So I just wanted to get special teams out of the way completely, to be completely honest with you. Do you have anything else to add?
Not with special teams, no. I thought we did fine in that regards. Nothing that cost us the game, so.
Exactly. Well, let's get into defense. What are you feeling about this defense, Tyler?
Oh, I thought the game plan in the first half was phenomenal. I thought they looked really good in the first half, and then the Packers made an adjustment on us, and Zim just looked clueless. There was no Aaron. They always referred to it as like a chess match, but there was no, the broadcast team kept saying that it was like a Mike Zimmer versus Aaron Rodgers chess match. Well, in the second half, there was really no chess match. Aaron Rodgers completely outdid our defense, and it was really bad. I thought they did a really good job containing Adams in the first half, but then in the second half, Rodgers kept throwing it to him every single time. Even MVS as well. It was bad.
Yeah,
coverage looked really bad in the second half is what I'm regarding to.
I specifically want to touch on 2 things, as far as what I think of when I think about the Vikings defense in this game. First being Xavier Woods.
Yes. Yeah, that was
horrible game. Absolutely horrendous game. He was missing tackles left and right. He got burnt in coverage left and right. Specifically the 1 play touchdown that tied up the game for Green Bay. That was his coverage.
Regarding that, I just want to say something real quick. Why are we blitzing on a first down there? What was that all about?
So there was a kind of a theory that I was hearing from some Vikings fans as I was leaving the stadium. Not one that I really believe in, but I guess anything's possible. that was basically like, let's give Rodgers this long touchdown now. We know he's probably going to score on this drive. So why don't we just give him the touchdown, let them tie it up, and then we get the ball at around the 2-minute warning, take it down, and try and
Yeah, obviously. I don't think Zim thinks of that though. He's not that smart. Let's be honest.
That's exactly what I was kind of thinking. Is I don't think Zim would be able to do the math on that and think correctly, you know, and or guess that correctly. I think it was just genuinely a blown coverage because Xavier Woods looks back like as he's entering the end zone, like what the heck, like where was my help? But yeah, my biggest point just is how bad Zave looked overall. He actually looked so bad that when I was rewatching the game on TV, there were like 2 separate times where the announcers called him Xavier Rhodes, not Xavier Woods. I just want to put that out there. Like, non-ironically, they were not trying to make a joke. They just got confused in the moment and called Xavier Woods Xavier.
That's hilarious if that was not on purpose. That's actually really funny.
So, yeah, that made me laugh a couple of times watching it, especially knowing how it all ended up. But
yeah,
the other thing was, wow, was it great to have Harrison Smith back. He looked fantastic out there. His disguises are obviously always amazing. He got a sack. I think it was the one that was the fumble that got super lucky.
Oh, yeah, that play.
Bounced back to Rodgers somehow. But, yeah, he had a fantastic game. And then, funny enough, I actually just saw a clip on Twitter like 2 hours ago. Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show and was talking about Harrison Smith and kind of the whole Vikings defense. But Pat asked him about what it was like to play against Harry and how good he is. And basically, Rodgers was just talking about how insane it is and how hard it is for him to go up against the Vikings defense because of the way that they disguise people. And I think he's dead on. Like, there's really no better blitz disguise team that I've seen than the Vikings during the Zimmer era, especially with the players that are like super familiar with Zim and how he likes to scheme his defenses. I think about Barr and Kendricks and Smith.
That's specifically what he said. Yeah. I mean, you're spot on with that. I mean, I don't disagree. Specifically on third downs too. I think it's really tough for him.
Right. Yeah. And so it was kind of like, again, especially with the whole deal as of recently in the line, like I'm not a huge Rodgers as a person fan, but it was cool to listen to him talk about football specifically and talk about what was so hard for him going up against the Minnesota Vikings. So definitely interesting stuff. But yeah, overall, I was really pretty happy with this defense. Again, I'm really just getting too annoyed though with falling apart in the 2-minute within 2 minutes of the first half, and then at the end of games as well, allowing for during basically the whole second half, the Packers to get right back into this game. That was really hard to watch. But then again, you listen to that clip with Rodgers and he's like, I'm basically guessing a majority of the time. And sometimes you just guess right. And the majority of the time it seems like I guess wrong. So I got really lucky that I guessed right throughout the second half, especially.
Yeah.
And so when you hear that, it's like, ooh, like that's really interesting. Like how much can you really attribute then, especially when you're talking about a Hall of Famer like Aaron Rodgers, if he's really that confused that he's coming down to a pre-snap guess, not even a pre-snap read, then it's definitely tough to get too into like just kind of firing into this defense about like how bad of a job that they necessarily did, especially when I'm not in the meeting room for the defense. But in the end, they still were able to put the Vikings in a winning position. It's not like they allowed Green Bay to dominate them in the first half and then make the Vikings the ones that had to come back. Like the Vikings were mostly in control of this game.
Yep.
Which was kind of insane because even when they went up 24-3 or 23, 24-23, I still kind of like, for some reason, had confidence almost. Like I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah, our offense
yeah,
was just on a roll. I mean,
right.
it just felt like there was no way that they were actually going to stop us and make a play on defense, to be honest with you. That's
Yeah,
kind of what
exactly.
I
Like it
felt.
was like, okay, well, our offense isn't going to stop. Like we'll probably get down there and score again, and then all we need is for this defense to come up one more time, which they didn't really do. But also, in the end, whether it was planned or not, the fact that the defense gave it all up in one play instead of like allowing for there to be kind of this long drive, um, ended up helping us in the end. So
Yeah.
strangely enough, it's almost like you have to attribute some of that to the defensive side of the ball. But it's tough. It definitely gets into the weeds, I think, a little bit as far as all that goes. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? In the end,
Yeah.
like we have said many times, we won, we got the dub. That's all that matters. And boy, does it feel good.
It feels amazing. Yeah, it's probably the best dub of the year, to be honest, so far.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully more to come, obviously, but so far I think this has been the best win for
Yeah,
sure.
100%. I definitely think it's absolutely insane just how much of a chance the Vikings have if they really want to start going on a run here. They have every reason to do so, and they hopefully believe the exact same thing. I'm sure they do, especially after this W. I mean,
All I'm gonna say is this team fully healthy, and they're talented enough to beat anyone in this league, in my opinion. When they're playing at their best, they can beat anyone in the NFL. It's whether the coaching is doing its job and whether this team is healthy and the guys are actually playing well. And if they bring out their best game, they can beat anybody. That's just my opinion. What I've seen with the Vikings this year.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that is a really great segue into a couple things that I want to talk about before we get into the keys of the game for the San Francisco game. And then obviously we'll get to your segment with some games around the NFL real quick here. I want to bring up Dalvin Tomlinson really quick and how I'm not happy with him. I think he has hurt this team, obviously, by not getting vaccinated. Sucks that we're going to be without him and Michael Pierce now. And that's really all the limelight that I'm going to give him, because another reason this defensive line is going to be hurting is because of what has happened today, specifically early this morning with Everson Griffin. I don't want to comment on it too much. Not many people know the specifics because
the video got
so much that has been said that could potentially not be true, and
the video doesn't need to be up either. Right. Yeah, don't want to see it.
Like, I haven't seen it and I don't want to, and that's out of respect for Ev and his family. But we know that he has had issues with his mental health before, and as a human being, like, screw football, screw the Vikings, I could care less. As a human being, the interactions that I've had with Everson Griffin have been nothing but absolutely amazing. And I know that deep down, he's a really great person. So I'm praying for nothing but comfort and ease for him and his mind, and nothing but health for him and his family. I don't care if I ever see him on a football field again. I just want the person, Everson Griffin, to be okay. So that's really where my thoughts end on this whole situation. I don't care when Everson Griffin is coming back to the field. I don't care what the projections are. I don't care what it does money-wise. I could care less. I'm not going to read about it. Right. I just don't care. I just want him to get better. So,
right.
If you're listening to this, people, please, spread positivity. Do not spread hate, and pray for the guy and pray for his family, because the things that he has done for Minnesota, both on the football field and more importantly off of it, are absolutely incredible. So in this time of need, we should be there for him as well, in any way that he wants us to be. So Do you have anything else to add before I move on?
Oh no, I was just gonna say mental health is more important than football,
Of
and
course. Yep.
that's got to be taken care of. And obviously, prayers out to his family and him, obviously as well.
Yeah.
It's just more important. He's got to get that taken care of before getting onto the field ever again. If he's gonna play, we don't know.
Yeah, and I'm glad you bring it up, wording it like that specifically too, because anybody who is listening to this and dealing with any sort of mental health issues or going through a tough time or anything, there are people.
Like Calvin Ridley's a good example right now around the league. Yeah.
Yep. There are people around you that love and care about you. And,
Yep.
Just know that there are plenty of resources that you can go to and you can use, and nobody's ever going to judge you for that. And if they do, then screw them. They're the people that have
They're wrong. Yeah.
not you. So get the help that you need, and know that we love you and we care about you. So anyways, moving on. Sorry to get so somber. Let's get into the San Francisco game really quick.
Right.
What is your key to the game, Tyler? What needs to happen for us?
My key to the game is the first priority is the defense, and it's this defensive line containing the running game. San Francisco, it doesn't matter who their running backs are. They always have some sort of like rotation. It's guys like Jeff Wilson or Elijah Mitchell who come in and get carries. The defensive line needs to make plays, specifically the run game. I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo to make good throws at all. You put him into passing situations, you can win this game fairly easy, in my opinion. He's not a very good quarterback, and that's me being nice.
Right.
If you could shut down this San Francisco run game, because I remember the last time we played this team in the divisional round of 2019, they absolutely ran it down our throat, and we couldn't stop it. Garoppolo didn't do anything in that game. It was the running back, specifically Raheem Mostert. But it's still the same team, basically, like that. The same system. It's a run-first football team. You shut down the running game, you can win this game fairly easy. I trust the offense to go out there and make plays again, specifically if they keep attacking. If they keep attacking the other team's corners, I think the Vikings offense is top literally 3 in the league right now. San Francisco's pretty depleted. I think they have Josh Norman out there starting at corner. So I don't know. I would say the defense is probably the defensive line specifically. Linebackers, they need to stop the run. And if they do that, I think they can win this game.
I really like that choice, especially after the conversation that we just had about the kind of depleted defensive line. I mean, now you're missing literally every projected starter on that defensive line for Minnesota that we had coming into the season for this game. So that'll be massive. I do have a lot of faith, though, in Armin Watts specifically, what he's been doing. I like what they have been doing with Sheldon Richardson off the edge. I love, obviously, DJ Wonnum, and I think that James Lynch can do a lot of damage. As he has been in the middle, specifically with stopping the run. So I have more confidence, I think, than most people do in this defensive line, even with Donovan Tomlinson and Everson Griffin most likely both being out of this game. That being said, my key to this game is something that we also already touched on, and it is a line deal, but it's on the opposite side of the ball. It's the offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings. The defensive line for San Francisco is absolutely fantastic.
Right.
They're insane. Yes, their corners maybe aren't the best. They do have a pretty good linebacker core, though. But anyways, I don't really care because I think our wide receivers can beat just about anybody in this league. It's whether or not Kirk Cousins has the time to throw the ball, whether or not Dalvin Cook has the lanes to run the ball down their throat and control the time of possession. And lead this defense out, put Jimmy Garoppolo into those passing situations, right? Get them down by 14, make it so that they're a one-dimensional offense and your defense has a better chance of teeing off. And that starts at the offensive line. And specifically now, this whole idea of like potentially having Garrett Bradbury and Miss Cole out there, how's that going to work? What's going on with that? Can Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw have another fantastic day against some pretty tough defensive ends? It's going to be super interesting. I think that is going to be the battle to watch. And if the Vikings win the battle on the offensive line, then shockingly, I think that they are going to handily win this game. Quite honestly, I think if this offensive line dominates this game, then this might be the one game that the Vikings also dominate when it comes down to the score sheet. So it really, really comes down to them. I love what you're saying about our defensive line.
Yeah.
I think the bigger battle of the trenches is going to be happening the other way around. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction here for the score. And for the first time in, is it 4 weeks now? Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like 4 weeks. I am favoring the Vikings in this, which is shocking because they're still underdogs. I think they're 3-point underdogs right now.
Right.
But I'm going to give them a full touchdown advantage in this game. I have them winning this game 28-21. I think it's going to be medium scoring. So
Right. Yeah.
not super high scoring, but also not super low scoring, like a teens versus teens game.
I mean, yeah. So regarding my pick now, I think I've picked against the Vikings the last 4 weeks as well. You know what? Screw it. Let's keep the trend going. I have San Francisco winning, but the Vikings will cover the spread yet again, people.
Of course.
I gave you the bet last week. Free money, right? All you listeners last week. I literally Vikings cover. I mean, it's going to happen again this week. I have us losing 23-21. How about that for you? They're going to cover the spread yet again. But it's kind of just, I've got to keep up the trend. I think the 49ers are going to run it down our throats, to be honest. I don't know. I don't see it stopping the run. That's just my analysis. But I think the Vikings cover yet again.
I don't think that at all.
I think the Vikings cover yet again. So people, put your money, man. Put your money on the Vikes this week.
Yeah, you bring up a really great point, though. I'm glad you really brought that up because, yeah, anybody listening to this podcast could have won a hefty amount of money had they bet on the Vikings to cover. So I still can't believe that Green Bay had 3.5 points, knowing the trend of this Vikings team.
And we're 3-point dogs this week. Hey, I mean, I didn't.
Dogs, though. I mean, at least that kind of makes some sense. The whole 3.5 thing. That's where I was. Like,
yeah.
Really gonna put like that? That was a very stupid decision. But whatever. That's not the point. I love it. I love it. I definitely think you could be onto something, by the way, too. So, with that being said, that's the end of our Vikings coverage. So, if that's all you're here for, feel free to click away. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out on some great stuff here from Tyler Williams. Take it away, my friend. Give me.
We got some big NFL Week 11 talk, man. I think I got 4 games on the slate for this week to talk about. I think this one was a noon game. It was actually a blowout. The Indianapolis Colts shocked the world and beat the down-headed Buffalo Bills 41-15. Carson Wentz, I mean, he didn't do much in this game. He did his job, but he played system QB. Jonathan Taylor is the story from this game, people. 185 yards, 32 carries, 4 touchdowns. This guy is a monster. Yeah, he's so just like, he's been, the last couple of years, in my opinion, he's been disrespected. As a fellow, I know you are a Gopher fan. I'm a Gopher fan as well. We've watched Jonathan Taylor in the Big Ten play. This guy is an absolute monster. I mean, he basically was carrying that Wisconsin offense on his shoulders. He's basically doing the same thing with the Indianapolis Colts right now. I mean, he carried this offense in this game. Wentz did absolutely nothing. Taylor just went crazy. The Bills look lost. Josh Allen, I don't know what to say about the Bills. I think that's the Patriots division right now, in my opinion. I think it's the Patriots division to lose right now. They're playing much better football than the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills might be a more talented team with a better quarterback, but right now, at this specific moment, the Patriots are playing better than the Bills. So
it's tough to argue.
I really think that they could run away with this thing. You never know. So, I mean, the Colts have proven, I mean, they could sneak in as a wild card. I wasn't very high on the Colts at the beginning of the year, but if Jonathan Taylor keeps doing this kind of stuff, I mean, I don't see why they can't maybe get a 6th or 7th seed out in the AFC.
Like I said, man, I will not be shocked if you are dead on about that. Specifically interesting with them playing tomorrow, too, against the Saints. I mean, like, that's a big time.
I think that's a really weird game. I'm excited to watch that because it's just like the Bills should beat this team because Trevor Siemian.
Well, that don't mean nothing, though, just because, like, they should beat this team. They should have beaten the Colts, and they got absolutely dominated by them. So should beat is absolutely nothing to this Bills team. Actually, they got beat by the Colts and they got beat by the Jags.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if I trust the Bills right now, to be honest. I mean, we got to see what they do tomorrow. But if they come out and play the game, who knows? All right. Next game I want to touch on. Oh, I hope you know what game I'm looking at right now. I really hope, because once I say the two teams, we have the Bengals and the Raiders play each other this week.
I hate you.
Oh my gosh. Who Dey? Let's go. Back on the winning track, baby, after the bye. Miserable game of the week before against the Browns. Probably the worst game since he played all year. Come off the bye week. Joey B has that pregame outfit on, which I absolutely loved. That was awesome. And they come out to Las Vegas and they just steamroll the Raiders. I mean, I'm happy. Burrow didn't have a great game, but again, Joe Mixon being healthy helps this team out a lot. 123 yards, 2 touchdowns, takes the pressure off of Burrow. Chase didn't have a monster game either, but again, this defense is playing much better this year. They're getting better pass rush, and them able to have a running game really helps balance things out. And the Raiders just look lost, though. I don't know what's going on with them. Derek Carr has just been struggling, man. I don't know if they're going to find themselves out of this hole, specifically in a very tough AFC West division. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with them in the coming weeks, but the Raiders just look lost. They've stunk it up the last couple weeks on their home field as well.
I hate you so much. I have nothing else to add. You're the worst. You did not. The only reason you brought up that game is because you're a Bengals fan, and because I'm a Raiders fan. You're just the worst human being. I cannot stand you. That is the worst. You know what? I cannot wait for the Raiders to absolutely demolish the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow on national television. They are going to blow them away. I cannot believe you're talking about free money. Dallas right now is still 10-point favorites, and they're missing CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's
crazy. Yeah.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I had to do it. The Bengals versus Raiders. Come on.
No, you're fine. You're good. It's actually really nothing can hurt me because we beat the Green Bay Packers. So. I can't be hurt. Not by my second favorite team losing to one of my favorite college quarterbacks ever in Joe Burrow. I cannot be hurt after beating the Packers.
Right, there we go. All right, well, okay. I had to mention this game. We'll get through it real quick. Kind of a boring game, to be honest with you, but, I mean, it's two of the best teams in the league. You got the Cowboys and the Chiefs played, I think, America's game of the week this week. 19-9 game. Not much to really say about this game, if I'm being honest, but we had to cover it because it's just two of the best teams in the NFL. Dak Prescott and this Cowboy team did not look good. They play Thursday, obviously, tomorrow. The Cowboys just look lost. They had injuries. It stings that we lost to this team. I mean, Dallas is still a good football team, but it still stings to lose to them on your home field. But again, the Chiefs, they didn't look great, but their defense is playing better. So I guess that's a positive. You're the favorites out in the AFC West with the Chargers dropping a couple games, but they did win this last week in a thrilling game, which I kind of wanted to talk about later. But again, the Chiefs, I think it's a Chiefs-Chargers battle out in the AFC West, and the Cowboys, I mean, it's kind of a one-team race in the NFC East. You don't got really any other teams that are going to be competing for that spot. Those are just my thoughts on the game. Not too much.
I have words for Patrick Mahomes, man. I am so pissed off. The guy that I was playing in fantasy accidentally kept Lamar Jackson in his lineup.
Oh, my gosh.
He had other guys go off, and I put Kirk Cousins on the bench, thinking that Kansas City versus Dallas would be an absolute shootout.
I don't blame you there.
Patrick Mahomes let me down so much that I lost to a guy who sat Lamar Jackson. Or sorry, not sat Lamar Jackson, played Lamar Jackson, even though he didn't play. So
wow.
I have some words for Patrick Mahomes right now, man. I have some real hard words.
I didn't even notice this, actually. I didn't even know this happened. I'm actually happy you brought it up. I had no idea that actually happened. Wow.
Yeah, I'm disgusted. See,
Wow.
you're just coming at me. You're just using.
I'm not coming at you.
Right now.
I had no idea you lost in fantasy this week. I didn't know. I had no idea you lost.
This is BS.
I had no idea.
Never agreed to this.
Oh my gosh. All right. Last final game of the week. Sunday Night Football. Probably one of the game of the year to be honest with you. 41-37. This game was insane. The Chargers played the Pittsburgh Steelers, which coming into it, I really didn't think this game was going to be that great, but it somehow was. The Chargers jumped out early, and by the third,
You there, buddy?
on the sideline.
Oh, you cut out, buddy, after you were talking about the third quarter.
Oh, okay. I was shocked that the Steelers came back in this game. They got turnovers at the right time. I think it was a fumble as well, and they took their lead eventually in the fourth quarter. And then Justin Herbert throws an absolute laser to Mike Williams down the field for 53 yards to basically win the game because they pinned the Steelers back on the kickoff. So, I mean, I was shocked. I didn't think the Chargers were actually going to win this game like after that comeback, but this game was insane, man. I think the Chargers are just an interesting team. I mean, the Vikings beat them, but they're still in the hunt for the playoffs. The Steelers, I'm still not high on the Steelers, to be honest with you. I think they got lucky putting up 37 points.
I'm not high on the Steelers at all either.
I'm not.
I'm kind of glad that you brought that game up because, yeah, I just don't understand. And it feels good because we're going to be playing the Steelers on Thursday night. So I think that could be a really great game for this team.
Right.
To make a statement on national television.
I hope so.
Because, yeah, for some reason, I feel like there are some people that are still high on the Steelers, even though they're the team that couldn't beat the Lions even. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like, I know Big Ben was out, but yikes. So, yeah, definitely agree with you there. But that does it, right? I think that's all for your games.
Yeah, that's it.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, with that, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in to Vikes with the Mike. We hope that you have an absolutely amazing Thanksgiving weekend, that you are surrounded by friends and families, and that you enjoy the holiday. Because after a win like that against Green Bay, if you have anybody in your family that you're celebrating with this weekend that's maybe on the other side of the river, ooh, how much fun you can have. So enjoy that. We will be back next Tuesday. Yes, actually next Tuesday for real.
I promise. It'll happen this Tuesday.
I also promise next Tuesday for real. With our gut reactions, hopefully also continuing this win streak against San Francisco 49ers. Big game. Oh, I also want to throw this in before we sign off. Row the boat, Ski-U-Mah, go Gophers. Wisconsin, you're going to take another big fat L on Saturday.
Right.
With that, we will sign off. Remember to support the podcast in any way, shape, or form that you can. Follow us on Twitter. Find us on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We're always looking for better ways to improve the show, and you can find all of our other episodes archived on our website, www.vikeswiththemike.com. With that, we'll see you next week. Again, enjoy your Thanksgiving break. We love you all so much. We're very thankful for all of you. So, without further ado, enjoy and skol.